There's a quiet revolution happening inside the U.S. federal government. And no, it's not about policy or politics. It's a grassroots movement built by federal employees for federal employees, and it's completely changing how the government thinks about its people. So let's dive into the story of how coaching went from this niche little experiment to a full-blown mainstream mission.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start by imagining the future, then we'll rewind to see the incredible grassroots story of how this all began. We'll hit the exact moment it became official, figure out why it's so important right now, and then we'll look at what's just around the corner.
All right, let's kick things off with a pretty bold vision for what the federal workplace could look like very, very soon.
I love this quote because it just nails it. This isn't about setting up another training program. We're talking about a fundamental shift, imagining a workplace where questioning, really listening, and empowering people becomes the default way of doing things. I know. It sounds ambitious, right? But that is exactly the prediction. The whole idea is that coaching is going to shift from this kind of perk for senior execs to just a standard part of the benefits package for everybody. And a huge driver for this? Well, it's the expectations of the next generation. College grads and top performers today, they're looking for growth, not just a paycheck.
Okay, so to really understand how we could get to a future like that, we have to go back. We need to look at the roots of this incredible, organic movement.
The idea at the very heart of this thing was both super practical and honestly revolutionary. Why spend a fortune on outside consultants when you've got amazing talent right there in the building? The vision was to train a dedicated group of federal employees to coach their peers right across different agencies. And just to be clear, we're not talking about giving advice here. It's a partnership, right? A coach helps you find your own answers. This made development accessible to everyone no matter their job title.
Now, this didn't just pop up overnight. It started small, with a successful coaching boot camp at the Department of Health and Human Services. That test run inspired a pioneer named Alan Myers to go after what he called a big, hairy, audacious goal: a formal, government-wide training program for feds by feds. And that led to the Federal Internal Coach Training Program, or FICTP, which kicked off its very first group in April 2014 with 80 people from 23 different agencies.
And you can tell the government was serious right from the get-go. They valued that first training at $12,000 per person. This wasn't some casual afternoon workshop. It was a major, high-quality investment in building an internal team of absolutely world-class coaches.
And the success of this whole thing, it was a true team effort, and the scale is just massive. Leaders from all over the government stepped up. Our Brit at the TSA was absolutely crucial in shifting the program online during the pandemic. Dr. Bailey Jones at HHS started a journal just to share what works, and Dr. Theodora Fitzsimmons was a champion for coaching inside the huge Department of Defense. It's this teamwork that has produced, get this, over 5,000 certified internal coaches to date. Incredible!
But you know how it is, especially in a place like the government. For a grassroots movement to really take hold, it needs that official stamp of approval. So let's look at the one single document that finally gave it that.
The story here is just fantastic. So a group of these advocates, including Dr. Fitzsimmons, they drafted a memo to make coaching an officially sanctioned activity. But for years, this memo was just stuck, collecting dust in the legal department at the Office of Personnel Management, OPM. It really seemed like it was dead in the water.
And then you get this one-in-a-million moment. It's 2018, and Dr. Fitzsimmons is at a meeting where the director of OPM, Dr. Jeff Pond, is speaking really passionately about coaching. At the end, he opens it up for questions and asks the room, "What can I do for you?" Well, Dr. Fitzsimmons did not hesitate. She stood right up and asked him to sign the memo. Dr. Pond just looked at his staff and said, simply, "Make it so." And that was it. This memo, which came out in September 2018, was the official green light. It basically declared that coaching was a valuable, sanctioned activity, and it gave leaders all the top cover they needed to invest in their own programs. The grassroots movement had officially gone mainstream.
Okay, so it's official. But what's the point? What major government challenges is all of this coaching actually helping to solve?
Well, the biggest change has been a total 180 in perception. In the old days, coaching in government was often seen as this remedial thing you did for underperformers. Today, it's seen as a strategic investment to develop everyone, to unlock their potential, and ultimately to help the agency succeed in its mission. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the data actually tells this story for us. This chart shows the top human capital priorities for different organizations between 2017 and 2020. Let's take a look at the trends.
Now, you might look at this and see that coaching and mentoring, as a specific line item, actually moved down a bit. But look what skyrocketed to the top. Retention of high performers is number 1. Effective teams and diversity, equity, and inclusion made huge jumps. See what's happening? Coaching isn't the end goal. It's become the engine that powers all of the government's most important people strategies.
And this is especially true when we talk about DEIA. I mean, think about it. The core skills of a great coach: active listening, asking powerful questions, helping people see their own blind spots. Those are the exact skills leaders need to build workplaces that are truly inclusive and equitable. It's just a perfect alignment.
Okay, let's bring it all home and look to the future. What are the solid predictions for where federal coaching is headed next?
Well, the future looks even more integrated. First up, tech is going to play a bigger role. Think AI-powered apps giving you on-demand support. Second, the focus is going to broaden from just one-on-one meetings to team and group coaching. That just scales the impact so much better. Third, that training program we talked about, the FCITP, will likely become even more accessible, growing that internal army of coaches even bigger. And maybe most importantly, having coach-like skills that won't just be a nice-to-have anymore. It's going to be a core competency, a standard expectation for every single manager in government.
So, there you have it. We've seen the whole journey. From just a few pioneers with a crazy goal to a government-wide movement with over 5,000 trained coaches, to a future where these skills are just woven into the fabric of public service. It's an amazing story of change from the inside out, and it really leaves us with one last thought. If this model of empowerment can work in an institution as huge and complex as the U.S. federal government, what could it transform next?